Hello friends, welcome to another new release rundown. I'm joined today by Javion from Mock's Boarding House. Oh my gosh, you almost messed me up there.
Sorry.
Where they have games, board
Yes.
games.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us today, Javion.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm coming from Mock's Boarding House. We are a huge retailer for board games, but we are also a huge retailer for Card Kingdom, which does Magic the Gathering almost exclusively.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of Magic tournaments and stuff like that, but we also have a cafe where people can come and eat food and stuff like that. We also have a second location. I'm in the Ballard location up north, but there's a Bellevue location out east in Bellevue, and also another one in Portland that is going to be opening soon. So we're still waiting on that one, but it's exciting.
That's exciting. Yeah. I'd say one of my favorite things about Mock's, I'm not just saying that because I used to work there,
Right.
but is the expertise of the staff and their ability to talk to you about new games that are coming in. Because there's a lot of new games, right?
Right.
Like these are just this week, basically?
Yeah.
Like within the last week or so, these games.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Basically.
So with so many new games coming out, it's important to be able to, as an employee at the store, like tell
Right.
people like what is all these games. There's so many new ones.
Yeah. Plus, I absolutely love all of these games.
Yeah.
So it was really easy for me to.
Javion is a games expert,
Look at.
so I always reach out to Javion when I need to know about new games. So I'm excited.
Actually, I realized only recently that it wasn't until like I met you that I found my love of dice.
Oh,
As crazy as it is now, like.
Yeah.
You were the one who first got me hooked on dice.
On dice. I mean, dice are great. I have a collection of many hundreds of dice.
Yeah.
They're the best. I don't think any of these are dice games, though.
Well, some of them have dice in
Okay.
them, so.
Yeah, you would know.
Yeah.
You check out the dice.
I definitely do.
Anyways, let's get started with our first game for the rundown today. We have Vast, the Mysterious Manor. Wait, Vast has been out forever. What's up with that?
Well, Vast the Crystal Cavern has been out forever. This is the Mysterious Manor, which is its own game, kind of like a sequel.
Okay. So this is not an expansion. This is standalone.
No, this is complete standalone. But you do have the opportunity to add in some of the Crystal Cavern's characters in. So like you can swap out the spider that's in the manor for the dragon. Yeah, so it's really cool. So in this version, you have another 5 characters. You start with the Paladin, who is trying to atone for their sins and defeat the spider and grab 5 spiderlings to win the game.
Seems kind of rude.
Yeah,
How does the spider feel about that?
I think the spider's like evil, and the Paladin's like been sent by his god to defeat the spider or something like that. You have to like read the lore, I suppose.
Yeah. From the Paladin's perspective, the spider's evil.
Right. Yes. Then there's also the skeletons, and the skeletons have really fun names like Stabby and Casty, because like they're spellcaster skeleton.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. They work really well together, and they use something called stability to gain more skeletons.
Ooh.
Yeah. They have a marching order, so only certain skeletons can activate at a certain time, and you lose stability when your skeletons are in the light, but at the end of every phase or every turn, you get some stability back, so you can gain those cards and use those cards to defeat the Paladin, which is your main goal. Then you've also got the spider, who doesn't want anything to do with anybody, is just trying to get out of the manor and escape.
Yeah, that doesn't seem that evil.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the spider wants to get out so he can like eat people or something like that. I don't know.
Fair.
You're very like hardcore on the spider's side. I have like no idea what the spider is.
I just like the underdog, the under spider, right?
Right. Well, in this case, you're not just playing as the big giant spider. You also play as the spiderlings. You can change between those different states. And you can also play as the sorceress. So you have 3 different modes that you can switch between.
As the spiders. Okay, cool.
Yeah, when you're playing the spider, you have 3 different modes. And they all play completely differently. They have their own board, their own set of rules. So you have to like decide what mode to be in, and how far to stay away from the Paladin. Yeah. So also, you get to play as the manor, just like you were able to play as the cave in the Crystal Cavern.
This is one of the unique things about these Vast games, right? Like you're playing as a building. How does that even work?
Well, the game is completely asymmetrical. So no matter what character or role you choose, you're playing something completely different from all the other roles,
Okay.
right? So the Paladin might have like very simple actions: move, attack, play cards. Whereas if you're playing as the Manor, you're playing this sort of programming game.
Oh my gosh.
Where you're also trying to like move or remove tiles off the board so that you can trace these lines, these grid lines around on the board and gain points. And you'll use those points to seal off the exits because you want to trap everybody inside the Manor forever.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so if you can do that, you win. And then, of course, there's also the Warlock. The Warlock is the most evil because he wants to dominate every figure on the board while also not being caught being in the same space as any figure.
Okay.
The Warlock wants to collect lots of curses and also like dominate poltergeists. So yeah, the Warlock is trying to do lots of like magic-y things to like control all the people on the board. And if he can do that, he wins.
So this is 5 games,
Yeah,
at least.
basically.
So one of my questions was, Vast, the Crystal Caverns, was known for being very complex, very long learning curve, because you couldn't really help someone out, because their game is completely different than your game. Have they simplified things for
No.
the version?
No. I mean, maybe some things have gotten like streamlined, maybe they revised some of the rules, but this game is huge, just like the Crystal Caverns was.
Okay.
So people who actually really liked that about the Crystal Caverns will enjoy the Mysterious Manor as well. I would say each character takes like an hour to learn.
Wow.
And that's not even including all like the glossary terms, like the difference between a crypt versus an empty space, or like a revealed space or a light space or a dark space, and all the different symbols and all the different tiles and cards, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and they did not pull any punches.
Yeah, okay.
But it makes for a really good game. People
Yeah.
are really excited about it.
Yeah. More of the same in a good way, with, but also completely new.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
You have lots of variants you can play cooperatively with someone, or like team play,
cool.
or you can even do the solo variant. And there's also the expansion.
Yes. Expansion specifically for
This game.
Mysterious Manor.
Yes.
Yeah.
It comes with 2 new characters. The Armored Knight, which is just like the sequel to the Knight from Crystal Cavern.
Okay.
But with, returning for his vengeance, I suppose. And the Shadow Paladin, who's a little bit more sinister than the regular Paladin. You also get a bunch new skeletons for the Skeletons clan, or faction, I suppose.
Yeah.
You get Singy and Smashy, Shiny and Sniffy. So,
Sniffy is cute. Like a dog skeleton.
It's a dog skeleton.
I love it.
Yeah, you also get some upgraded pieces and a couple more variants to play with too.
Nice.
So it adds a lot to the game, very valuable. I remember actually when they were just announcing Vast Mysterious Manor at one of the conventions recently, they were also giving away the expansion for free, which is like a $40 value.
Oh, wow.
So if you pre-ordered the actual game, but now you can actually have a chance to buy the game if you didn't get a chance to get that deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I would recommend this game to anybody who really liked Vast, the Crystal Caverns, or if you also liked Root because it's made by the same people.
Yep.
Or if you really like complicated games. Because I'm gonna say probably one person's just going to like watch all the videos or read all the different manuals and stuff like that, and then just teach everybody else everything.
Yeah.
You could probably just get everybody individually learning their own character, and that way they don't have to worry too much about what other people are doing, because kind of like Root, but I would say like exacerbated a little bit, is not being able to control or even analyze everything that's going all over the board all at the same time.
This is pretty competitive. You're doing fighting directly against other players.
Exactly. Unless you're like the spider who's trying to just get away.
Right.
Everybody is going after somebody else.
But a pretty high spite level, right?
Yes, very high spite level.
All right, cool. What's next?
All right,
What are
let's
you
talk about
excited
Age of Dirt.
Age of Dirt.
Age of Dirt.
All right. So this is one by WizKids. I looked at this. I saw the caveman theme to it. Worker placement, but with a twist.
Yes, exactly. So in Age of Dirt, you're playing these ancient civilizations who are trying to collect lots of resources and make inventions.
Yeah, that seems normal enough.
Yeah, once you get enough rock star points from your inventions, you win. However, to get those inventions, you need resources. And to get those resources, you have to send your tribe members on missions to collect those resources. And those missions are very dangerous. You've got saber-toothed tigers who are going to try to eat your tribe members. You've got a vicious bear who's going to try to keep you from collecting more of your tribe members that have been eaten.
Oh, that your people get eaten.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. You also have a spear that will help you fend off those attacks, so you have something to help you out.
Okay.
And the really interesting part about this game is that there is this huge tower. It's like a dice tower, but for meeples.
For meeples.
You drop your tribe members into these little boxes, and then when you want to actually collect some resources, you'll take one of those boxes that you want to collect resources from, take all the meeples out, even your opponents, and you drop them into this tower, this passage spire, right? And whatever falls out, those players get the resources that they want. But some of those meeples will get stuck in there. And if they happen to be yours, then you can use this little drum that you have and a drumstick, and you tap on different sides of the tower to try to shake the little meeples out and have them collect those resources for you. Yeah, so you might not want to do it if all yours fell out and you have some of your opponents still stuck in there. And those meeples that don't come out, they stay in there until they somehow get jostled out. So they'll pile up over time, and it'll make it a lot harder for people who don't have drums to get their meeples to come out. Yeah.
And they might collect different resources
Yeah.
then?
Yeah,
Okay.
some of them will earn you like stone or wheat. Some of them will earn you like berries or leaves and things like that. So you'll decide once you're picking them up. But like stones cost you a couple extra of your workers to collect because stones are really heavy. Yeah.
So this is, I like the pitch for this. It's a worker placement game with dumb workers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is unique. I don't think I've seen something like that before.
I think they mean dumb as in like haven't evolved yet.
Yeah.
They're not civilized
Right,
yet.
yeah,
so.
uncivilization.
Right, exactly.
So that's cool. It seems, is the gameplay after that then pretty simple?
Yeah.
Is it a little, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a very set number of actions that you can take, and they're all really well defined by the game's rules. That being said, there are some higher level concepts in it. So, thinking about like what kind of age range might be attracted to this kind of game.
Yeah.
A family with somebody who already knows the game could probably teach it to the rest of their family.
Okay.
But starting it for the first time, I would say it's kind of like a light to medium kind of game rather than just like a really easy game.
Interesting, yeah.
So maybe somebody like 12 or up or something like that.
Because just looking at it with the tower, it's like it looks kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Like you might think it's more of a kid's game, but that's good to know that it's like a little more complex.
Yeah, yeah.
And spiteful, right?
Very
Because your
much
people
so.
get stuck in there, and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna leave your people stuck in the passage.
Exactly. Or you're actually like fighting over these inventions, so whoever gets to one first will take it away from somebody who is working towards it. You have a very limited space of how many resources you can have until you upgrade your cave so that you can hold more resources. So until then, you could be like, okay, well, your board's full, so I know you're not going to get any resources, so I'm going to take that one box that has all your meeples in it, and I'm going to drop a bunch of stuff, and you're not going to get anything, but you're going to get your workers back, so you can try for other things.
It's interesting. It seems like it actually has quite a lot going on.
Yeah.
So cool. If you like worker placement, but you're looking for something new,
exactly,
could be a good fit for you.
If the theme of tribes and like ancient civilizations that are a little bit more cartoony is your vibe, then definitely check out Age of Dirt.
Yeah, cool. All right. Do you want to do Paladins?
Yeah, let's talk about Paladins.
Sweet.
Paladins of the West Kingdom.
So there's been a lot of games in, like, I recognize this art from Renegade Games. I know there was a bunch of the North Sea that had the same art, and now there's a bunch of the West Kingdom.
Right. Yeah, so there's Raiders of the North Sea and Shipwrights of the North Sea. This one is Paladins of the West Kingdom. So you're actually not on like the sea. You're not in boats or anything. You're actually building your own kingdom. And you're trying to get lots and lots of fame and faith and strength for your kingdom so you can earn victory points to win.
So in all of the games, I don't even know if a series is the right word, because the games are very different, right? There's like worker placement and city building.
It does borrow a lot of some of the mechanics from older games. They learn as they go. I feel like this is probably like the next progression for these game designers in the game that they made, because people really, really love this game. Yeah, when I was doing some research for it, I see a lot of people saying like, oh, this is the best version, or like this is the best game in the series. Yeah.
Oh, okay, excellent. Yeah, I've heard that, like I unfortunately haven't gotten a chance to play any of the North Sea or West Kingdom games, but people come up and they're just like, it's so good. I'm like, you know, for these types of games, you play a lot of them. You're like, oh, I just get it. They're like, no, it's like so good. So I want to play one of these. Like, I'm excited to check it out.
If you're gonna pick one to start with, I would definitely try Paladins first. All of the games are pretty complicated. This one is no stranger to that.
Yeah.
You start off with a huge board. It is a table eater.
Yeah.
You have this massive, really, really long board that stretches out over the table, and you got your massive board and tons of meeples and cards and stuff.
The box isn't that big. It's got heft.
Yes.
Like, this is one of the heaviest games we have here. Vast is maybe a little bit heavier, but they've packed a lot of probably cardboard, cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Different things in here.
Yeah.
Player boards, bits, houses. Yeah.
You're trying to earn those victory
for your
points
buck.
from placing the workers in different areas. And everybody's going to take turns, and you sort of get an engine building vibe to it, because you gain more and more actions as you reduce the costs of things, or gain more meeples, or at least more access to these workers for you. As you play, you'll also be picking paladins from your hand, and you'll choose one to be like your champion for the round, and then you'll choose a different one for the next round, and the next one, and the next one. And each one will give you more meeples, but it'll also give you like a special ability, and also bumps up some of your stats, because not only do you have to have the right color meeple for the action, or the right number of meeples for the action you're trying to take, you also have to have certain requirements to get some of the more expensive worker places and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of spite to it as well. There are spaces where everybody is sort of fighting over. Like, I want to get the one that gives me 2 black meeples, but you want that one too. So I'm going to work a lot harder to find a different option, just in case you get it before I do. So you have to work around each other. But you also can't do everything at once. You have to find a little bit of focus on what color meeple you want. However, everything works in this sort of like cyclical way. Like, a red meeple will maybe give you a chance to get the blue one. That one might give you a chance to get a black one, and then a white one. And the purple ones are like wild colors, so you can choose it to be any color you want to, but there are some suspicion cards that, you know, make it more difficult for you to get the actions that you want in future turns and things like that, because you're getting a reward. There's also some consequences. Yeah, it's a very huge game. There's a lot of rules to it, and it can be pretty overwhelming for like first timers.
A lot of that way is like the rule book in there, just a big fat rule book, right?
Yeah, huge rule book.
And it's so you're like building out buildings, building your town.
Yeah, you're building like strongholds and things like that. You can like bolster your army, or you can try to go for like political influence, or you can just try to get a huge population.
Yeah.
So lots of different avenues. A lot of things that we've seen before. This uses paladins though, which is the idea that like, I know what I'm going after this round, so I'm going to pick a paladin that best suits my strategy. So you do get a lot of strategy going into it.
Wow.
A lot of choice. That's that's probably one of my favorite parts about this, is that you have so many different options, so many choices. It's about what you want to focus on based on what your opponents are going after.
Yeah. And for this kind of a game, you know, there's a lot of engine building, civ, worker placement. I do look to my friends, what people are saying, recommendations from store employees, and then reviews. And this one just high up on all of those factors. So
absolutely.
If you like this kind of game, this might be like a really good fit for you.
Yeah, if you like Scythe, if you like some of the, you know, huge options like what Stonemaier?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stonemaier games.
Yeah, I recently got a chance to play Tapestry, and it seems like it has a little bit of feel of Tapestry.
It feels a lot like Tapestry. I feel like Tapestry is even bigger, though, because Tapestry has a lot of options as well. This one, though, I feel like if you liked any like the North Sea games, which end up being pretty popular, you like this one, too. If you want like a really in-depth game, really, really long game, it's really fun. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference for what's next?
Let's talk about Letter Jam.
Letter Jam. Ooh. Good catch.
Here we go. All right.
Wow.
We're just going to leave that there for now.
Yeah. So you got a chance to play this?
I did. I played this
we both
at
got a
PAX
chance to play this.
year.
Okay. Yeah, because I played it at Shucks.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah.
oh man, I miss that one every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, shut up and sit down, right?
Yeah, up in Vancouver. So what was your opinion of this game?
I really love Letter Jam. This is the same company that made Code Names.
Yeah.
And so they are really good at making like word games. This game is more of a fill in the blank type game, whereas you're trying to get your teammates to guess the letters or the secret letters that they have in front of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Hanabi in that you can see what everybody else has, but you don't know what you have in front of you.
Or like just one.
Or like just one.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't know what you have, but you are trying to get clues from what everybody else is saying.
And it's cooperative.
It's cooperative. Everybody's working together. And there are some mechanics in it that make sure that everybody gets a chance to try to give out some clues. So nobody has the opportunity to be like, okay, I'm just gonna give out clues over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But also if like a couple of people are struggling, somebody can take an extra turn or two if they have really good clues and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's very free form. What you're doing is you're trying to get your teammates to guess their letters, their missing letters, by giving them words with letters missing. So if you have something in front of you like a T, I might spell a word using all of the community letters that you can see.
Yeah.
And then one blank one, which is the letter that you have.
Yeah.
So for instance, if I want to use the word water, I would put this one chip, like because these are the poker chips that you'll place down. I'll place a one chip down in front of the W, so you know that's the first letter. And then I'll put a two chip in front of the letter A. And then I'll put a 3 on your letter. Now you still don't know what that letter is, but you know that's the third letter in the sequence.
Yeah, so you
and
fill
then
out your
the E and the
score
R come
pad
next.
with the other ones, and then
Exactly.
just put like a question mark where your letter would be.
Exactly, and you can do up to 8-letter words, so you can get a lot of variety.
And you can reuse, so if you wanted to
Exactly.
use 2 T's, you'd put 2 numbers in front
Exactly.
of someone.
They really gave you a lot of leeway with how you can use the different letters.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure out like, okay, so it's W-A blank E-R, maybe it's a T. But then there's lots of other options.
Yeah, it could be waiver.
Or wager, or wafer.
Yeah.
There's lots of different
Actually,
words.
yeah,
that
I was
could be.
thinking like, oh, that's easy, but no, there's a lot of words that could. Yeah.
And if you're not thinking about all the different possibilities, you might be like, oh, I'm really sure about what this letter is. I know it for a fact. And then you put the card down and you put another one up. And by the time you get to the very end, you have to make a word using all the letters, but you want to keep them in the right position that you found them in. Because then you have to rearrange them, and then it's a big reveal at the very end. You flip over all the cards, and if you made a coherent, legible word that makes sense and is like in the dictionary,
Yeah, your team gets points.
your team gets points. And you know, the more people who are able to guess what their letters were correctly and make a word out of it will win more points for the group.
Yeah.
It is cooperative.
It's not as hard as it sounds because you actually at the beginning of the game seed each person with a word. So it's not like you get like T, X, Y, W and need to make a word out of that. But
I don't even think they even add those letters as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
letters
Someone will
you
like
can
do
just-
it. You'll shuffle up the cards so you'll know that you have a word
Exactly.
that's makeable. That sounds great. This game is a lot harder than you would think.
Yeah.
Because I got that best too. It's like, oh, I get this. Like, part of the difficulty is the way that the words shuffle, so you might just get no vowels, right? There's a wild in the center of the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to be like, okay, well, this asterisk can be any letter.
Yeah.
I'm going to use it as a vowel because we don't have any.
Yeah.
So I'll put that, instead of the A, I'll put down the 2 chip in front of the asterisk.
Yeah.
So now you have to guess even more about what your teammate was trying to get you to guess.
Yeah, you
but
could
if it's a
have-
really good word, it's like a really long word,
Yeah.
and there's literally only one letter it could be really beneficial to try to use that asterisk. Because if it's pretty obvious, then people will catch on to what letter they're missing.
Longer words are better. I think one of my best ones was baboon.
Oh, cool.
So I like did B and then A and then the same B again.
Oh, cool,
and then
cool.
I had like one wild and everyone guessed that. But I had some bad words where they're just like, because you're looking at your score sheet over time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, it could be like for W-A blank E-R.
Right.
It could be a V or a T, and then your next word, you'll be able to use the clues over time.
Exactly.
To guess what stuff it is.
Yeah, everybody gets this little pad where you can make notes on the words that people are giving you, the clues that people are giving you, and the different possibilities of what letter it could be, so you can compare like, oh, maybe I missed one back here. Oh, okay, so I was actually wrong. It wasn't an E, it was a T. Okay, cool, I can put that down instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very fun, very thinky, easy enough to get into. I
Right.
think it's definitely on the thinkier side of party games, and
Sure.
you want people to like words at least a little bit, probably.
Right. If one person knows it, it's very easy to teach to other people.
Yes, yeah.
I caught on pretty quick when I was learning it at PAX.
Yeah.
Not to mention it's a word game, and those kinds of games tend to be pretty easy to pick up on.
Yeah.
So if you've already played Codenames, or if you like Scrabble,
Yeah.
those kinds of games are sort of like lead-ins to this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the cooperative aspect to it really, really appeals to me because you're working together with other people.
Yes.
You're trying to give clues for everybody.
Yeah.
So if you're just like focusing on getting one person their word over and over again, they'll just be sitting there having completed their whole thing, just giving clues out to everybody else.
Yeah.
Whereas you only have a limited number of cards and a limited amount of guesses or clues that you can give out before the game's over.
Yeah, but it is nice, like if you do get through yours faster, then you get more. It gives a lot of bonuses and
Right.
stuff. I think this is great. This and just one. Holidays are coming up in a little bit.
Exactly.
Playing with your family, playing with friends, and you want a little bit more of a like thinky experience, but
Yeah.
still something that's easy to get into.
Yeah, so if you want something a little bit more casual
Yeah.
than like a huge strategy game or like a cooperative game.
Yeah.
Super fun game.
Cool. And that's Letter Jam.
All right.
It's fun. Check it out. All right. I want to do parks.
Okay.
I've just been eyeing this over here because I've seen this. I saw it at Gen Con. I saw it at Shucks.
Yep.
Multiple times, did not buy it. Regret it because it's just like so amazing and so beautiful. And
It's a
don't
very,
know too much
very,
about.
very pretty game. The
Yeah.
art is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the gameplay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, Parks is a very lighthearted, casual kind of game. It feels a lot like Takedo, if you've ever played that. Whereas you're playing hikers who are going through these parks and trying to take snapshots along the way. Everybody's going to complete the hike, but it's about what snapshots you take along the way will earn you different points. So as you send these hikers down the trail, they'll collect these resources along the way. And as you collect these resources, you'll spend them on snapshots, or you'll also be collecting these little gear cards that will give you bonuses throughout the entire game.
So like a camera or like
Well,
a hiking gear?
Yeah, hiking
Okay.
gear.
Yeah.
Right? You can use like a campfire to rest up if you need a little bit more time. Or you can use your canteen to store some extra water tokens and things like that. So really what you're doing is there are other people on the board. You'll have to skip past them and over them to get to the resources or the certain tile that you want before they can get to it.
Okay.
Or you'll have to try to bide your time and take the certain tiles that you want to get the resources that you need and really plan out which cards you're going to take. You can reserve certain snapshots for later so that you can be the only one who has access to it if you really want to get those points. Or you can save a little bit of time and go for the snapshots that are at the top of the board, and hopefully nobody takes it before you get a chance to get to it.
I'm actually going to show this real quick because this is a joy
Yeah.
of mine when they do the printing inside the box. Just the attention to detail for everything that's
they put
going
a lot
on
of
here.
time and effort into the game,
Yeah,
and especially the
rulebook is
art.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
a pretty
the
friendly
patterns
game.
and things on it.
People are encouraged to, take the path that they want to. It's very thematic, so if you really like hiking and stuff like that, it
Wooden
feels a lot
tokens?
like wooden tokens, very
Yeah.
very nice pieces. The components are really well done. The storage solutions for them are really nice as well, because it fits together really nicely in the box too. Some of the cards might jumble around a little bit, so you might want to get like rubber bands or something like that.
Yeah, and these are like nice big tarot-sized cards with
They're
the
big
the
cards.
art on
They're
it.
the small ones that are like your gear cards and stuff like that. So lots of cards, lots of different pieces, but all of them really brightly colored, really really nice to look at.
And because I've seen these ones, put these in front of the camera. You're building a trailer. So, like this is something
Yeah.
that caught my eye as well. It's like you're moving. Is this the board? You're building the board, or is it like
Kind
you build
of.
it every time?
Kind of. So what you're doing is you are spending a year
Okay.
going through the different seasons, going through the parks over and over again throughout the year.
Okay.
And every time you go, you're taking different pictures. So 4 rounds, 4 seasons, and each season sees new additions to the hiking trail. So you're adding, you're shuffling up the the deck of like a little hiking trail additions and you're adding them onto the board so people have more options.
Oh,
So as you
cool.
progress through the game, you get more and more stuff, more resources and resource solutions as well. So it's a lot of sort of like, I would say easygoing, deciding where you want to go based on whatever you're feeling like will get you the most points. There's not a huge depth of decision making, but there is some racing. For instance, like if I want to reserve a card, well, I'm the only one, or maybe I'm one of the only 2 people who get to do that once we get to the very end of the board. So I'm going to try to move really quickly, but if I do that too fast, then I won't get as many resources, and I'll be basically wasting a whole turn just so I can get this one card to come to myself. Yeah, collecting like little sunlight tokens and mountain and rock tokens and stuff like that, or water tokens, so that you can pay for these different snapshots. It's very, very much a resource management game.
Yeah. I mean, I really like that. A game that just leans into the theme, that you just feel like the pictures are great. Like almost like Takedo does that really well too. You feel like you are going on this journey, and it's strategic enough. You think you're making meaningful choices, but not so strategic that you're like you can talk over a game like this, right? Like you can hang out with your friends.
You don't have to take it too seriously. You just pretend like you're hiking and picking up different snapshots and taking lots of neat pictures along the way. So it's a pretty casual game. There are some rules to it, but it's not really that difficult to get into. So I would definitely recommend this to a lot of different age ranges, because of like the very specific theme. If you really like really good pieces, really nice art, it's definitely a good pickup because it looks so nice on your bookshelf among all the other board games that you have. Plus, it's really easy to get people to play it with you because it's an easy concept. It's not something as crazy as going through a crazy mansion or something like that.
A manor with the ghosts and the
fighting
spiders.
Dungeons and stuff like that. It's as simple as just moving your piece along, collecting resources, and spending all your bonuses to get the stuff that you want. So pretty cool, pretty casual.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it if you like sort of these resource management games that are a little bit more strategy than like Letter Jam or something like that, but has a little bit more theme to it as well.
Yeah, I also like with the box art on here. I think some games are just like, oh, make a pretty box, and you have no idea what the gameplay is. I feel like this, looking at this, I'm like, okay, I think I feel the weight of it. It's like strategic, like the very evocative, like structural nature of it. I'm like, I feel like the box speaks to what's in the game.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it draws in the type of people that are going to want that kind of game. So they did a good job with that.
What's next?
How about Toy Story?
Toy Story.
Yeah, let's bring this one
Deck
over.
building game. I had not even heard of this one, so yeah. Before you, I did some research after you sent it over, but this, for me at least, kind of came out of nowhere. So what's up? What's the deal with this?
Toy Story is one of my favorite movies of all time. Toy Story 4,
I haven't seen it yet. No spoilers.
Hands down, my favorite of the series.
Okay.
A lot of people disagree. Some people say, "Oh, Toy Story 3 is better. The first one's better," but I absolutely loved it. And it takes a lot from Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, not so much 4. I'm trying not to spoil too much by describing some of the things in the game, but it is a cooperative deck building game. It is almost shot for shot, just like the Harry Potter Hogwarts deck building cooperative game.
Yeah, on Board Game Geek, it actually says that it's a re-implementation.
Yeah.
So even not a sequel, like redone. Yeah, it's got the boxes for the different phases.
Everybody gets their own character, so you could be Woody or Buzz, and you'll get a hand of 5 cards, and you'll get a deck of 10 cards that you're drawing from every turn. You're spending those cards as imagination points to collect these different toys that you'll add to your deck, and you'll get better cards, so you're building the deck. Or you can gain insight, which are these little lamp tokens.
Oh, they're the Pixar, the lamp thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, and you'll place those lamp tokens underneath the obstacle that you're trying to overcome. So it's not as, I would say, battle heavy, because Hogwarts Battle ended up being like a fight against villains.
Yeah.
In this one, you're trying to jump over and overcome different obstacles
Okay.
that are in the dark. So you're trying to shed light on them with the insight. Yeah.
That's nice. I could see, especially, I mean, this is very much a kid's family game.
Yes.
More so, you might need a parent to at least teach the game, but I could see them liking not having a combat aspect.
Exactly.
To it.
One of the things they really tried hard to do is make it a little bit more kid-friendly, a little more family-friendly. So it's less about like fighting and damaging and stunning, and it's more about like, oh no, we ran out of batteries for the toy. We have to recharge the toy, and that's gonna make us move up the tracker.
Yeah.
And the way you win is by defeating all of the obstacles, or at least overcoming them before you. The toys move up the track to the very end, which, small spoiler, is an incinerator. So you have to try to get the big claw to pull you guys out of it before you get to the very end. And there's lots of different scenarios, so there's different things that you're avoiding, different obstacles that you have to overcome. But for the most part, other than that one thing, very kid-friendly.
Yeah.
Very easy to pick up on,
This is Toy
too.
Story. Everything happens. Everything turns out okay in the
Yeah,
end, right?
absolutely.
Wait, is that what the story is? If you lose, you all get incinerated?
Yeah, basically.
It's kind of dark. Jeez.
It's kind of dark. That's probably the darkest part from the movies that I remember. So I'm just like, kind of like.
That was very dark. Oh my gosh, I think I
curious
cried.
I
almost
curious
cried.
about what went into that decision.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, you get the different characters, and you'll unlock different things as you go through the different adventures. As you can see, it's a big box.
Yeah.
So it's more than just like cards. It's got tokens, but it's also got multiple adventures, and you'll add things into the game, just like in with the Harry Potter Hogwarts battle. Every time you play it, it gets a little bit more complicated, but you learn as you play instead of just picking up huge chunks of information and having to deal with it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the starting small, because you like start with like small decks,
Right.
and like it introduces mechanics over time. So that's great for families.
Exactly.
Pick up a little over time. And there's also, I mean, this is a game you wouldn't. I know for the Harry Potter deck builder game, it's got like one box for each book or something.
Right.
So you go through the different books. This probably has a similar number of boxes.
Yeah.
You're not going to play them all in, like, take a long time to do them all, but you can do them one at a time, like break it up, and then go back to the beginning and play it again.
Exactly. It's very replayable. There's no secrets that you have to unlock or
So it's not like
anything
a
you have to tear
legacy.
up. Right. It's not like a legacy. You can play it over and over again. So it's a cooperative game. So people who like cooperative games should definitely check it out, because everybody gets to work together to defeat the different obstacles. It's also a deck building game. So if you like the Harry Potter Hogwarts battle, or if you liked Clank, or Dominion, or any of those like really simple like starter level deck building games, if you really want to get into the deck building genre, huge hit. I really like this one.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, it's also great for like really young kids to play with like families. So if you like the theme of like Toy Story and you like the movies, if you want something Toy Story related on your bookshelf, definitely go for it.
Yeah, cool. Super fun. All right, let's do the Cyberpunk Jumpstart Kit next.
Absolutely. So we've got an RPG to talk about today. Yeah, so this one is the Jumpstart Kit, because it comes with all the stuff that you need to get started playing Cyberpunk. This is Cyberpunk Red, which is sort of adjacent, tangentially, to Cyberpunk 2020. It's set in the same world.
The video game.
The video game and the RPG.
And the RPG, right.
Yeah.
It's gone back and forth, like RPG, video game, RPG.
The video game hasn't come out yet.
Oh, okay.
So until it does, you can have Cyberpunk Red to tide you over. Cyberpunk 2020 has been around for a really long time. It's an RPG that goes back like years and years and years.
Yep.
So they took a lot of the art and updated it to be a little bit more modern. They also updated a lot of the rules as well. For anybody who doesn't know cyberpunk or like what that means, imagine a world where technology has basically just taken over every aspect of everybody's lives. You've got cyborgs walking around, androids, people who have genetic or rather technological enhancements for their body. Maybe like you got like an optical lens inserted into your like cornea that helps you, scan the environment. Or maybe you have like really high-tech guns that can do more than just kill people. Maybe they can actually like hack you into the system. That's another cool thing about like the whole cyberpunk genre, is that there's a lot of something called net running, which is to say you're hacking into the system, but it's kind of like VR, where you're running around and you're hacking different things, and you're avoiding like these parasites and creatures and like weird like techno monsters that are
it's like the
attacking
movie
you.
Hackers. You know, this is what they envisioned it would be like, but they had to make it look cool. So
yeah, exactly. So there's combat, whereas like you're in real life, you're using all of your tech to try to get into this really, really lethal combat, these shootouts with your enemies, and using cover and stuff like that to dodge or get out of the way, or take them out before they can get to you, setting up traps and things like that. The other side is the hacking, the net running, trying to get into the systems. Maybe you're going to a huge warehouse, to these databases, to collect some secrets that this company has been hiding from you, to keep quiet what they're really doing, to create some weird contraption or like some tech that they have developed or been developing for a long time, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can play as good guys or bad guys. One cool thing about Cyberpunk Red, this Jumpstart Kit is very, very simple.
Okay.
A lot of the complaints a lot of people had about the older version of Cyberpunk 2020 was how complicated it was. I feel like they took a page out of D&D, whereas less is more.
Okay.
So now you've got your D10s and your D6s, and that's it. You roll D10s on like skill checks and things like that. Sometimes you're rolling to hit, and you'll roll some D6s on damage. For the most part, though, they have really modernized all the different rules for combat, for net running, and for skill checks.
Nice.
So if you are looking to get into a new RPG, but you're kind of sick of the whole, the D&D, the fantasy kind of thing, you want to jump into something, or if you're really excited about the video game and you wanted to try out the world and, do a new RPG, something to pull out on your table that's not D&D, or that's not some of the other sci-fi games that you've tried out.
Yeah.
This one get you started right away for a pretty low price point, considering all the stuff that it comes with.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of this stuff, the customizable characters.
Right.
I like that coming into a new system. It's not like, here's the book.
Yeah.
Figure out, there's stuff you miss. Like,
Yeah.
every time I make a D&D character, I'm like, oh, I'm going to forget to have something really important. But
Right.
this, like, you have your character, but you can, like, tweak it a little bit, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then maps and standees, too. So you can have, like, the dudes on a map thing going on as well.
You get a huge grid system, so you can like draw on it the different areas that people are going to run through. Maybe they're going to a warehouse or something like that. You want to draw the different boxes or walls and doors and stuff like that. So you can do all of that from the box. And you don't have to buy a fancy map to supplement or anything like that.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
It comes with a lore book and rule book, some starter rules and some dice. So it gives you absolutely everything you need to go. I highly recommend it if you want to try something new. It's a very good starter level RPG if you're looking for something that's not too complicated.
Yeah. And a lot of people just like the universe, the
Exactly.
sci-fi
Exactly.
over the fantasy stuff.
Right.
Cool. Cyberpunk Red Jumpstart Kit.
Yeah.
All right, let's grab the 3-Dragon Ante.
go over here to get it.
Ante.
Ante.
It's got a subtitle, right? Legendary Edition. 'Cause
Yes.
This isn't the first 3-Dragon Ante.
No, it's not. This
I feel like I'm
is
saying
the
that
Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
It is Ante, you're right.
Ante, yeah.
It's like Ante up.
And there's a history to this game.
Right.
Right? Like
Yeah.
this was a game before it was a game.
That's correct. So 3-Dragon Ante is a card game. It's bluffing and deception. It was created a long time ago in one of the early editions of D&D. At first, it started off as just an in-game mini game that you can play in D&D. Since then, it's been implemented as a physical game, a physical copy with physical cards you can actually hold. The idea behind it is that you can play it in-game and you can use this as like a prop. So you can be like, okay, so this is the game that you guys are playing. These are the cards that you're holding. You can actually play through it. Or you can do the simple way, where it's just you roll a skill check to see how well you do, whether or not you impress the big bad mafia boss by playing really well.
Yeah.
Or if you use sleight of hand to sort of like cheat
Yeah.
and steal some cards and stuff like that.
I love that, though. There's a couple of games, TAC is like that too, right? Where it was
Right.
originally a game in a fictional universe, and then they're like, let's just make this game. People like this IP enough that
Exactly.
we could bring this thing to life.
This is the Legendary Edition, which means it's got updated rules. It's also got extra cards, as opposed to the cards that they have from the original edition. What you're doing is you have dragon cards. You are controlling these dragons to create flights.
Okay.
Flight is the plural form of dragons. You have a group of dragons together. It's called a flight of dragons,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're trying to create the biggest flight that you can using typically 3 dragon cards with numbers at the top of them. Those dragon cards always come with an ability, but the ability doesn't always go off. If you are the first person to play a card, then your ability always goes off, but if you play a card that's lower than somebody else's, then you also get to play your ability. So you get some consequences for playing really high cards. But the abilities are great because some of them let you bump up the number on the card, so you get a higher numbered flight. So because whoever has the highest numbered flight will collect the pot. And you're using cards to ante in on how much gold you're tossing into the pot. So like I'll play a card first to show how much I want to ante in. Whoever tosses out the highest card will say, everybody has to toss in this much gold. I'm very confident I'm going to win this pot, so I'm going to put in a lot, or I'm not very confident, so I'm only going to put in a little bit, that kind of thing. However, getting rid of cards from your hand is pretty risky because you won't be able to play those cards to your flight and actually get the big number. Because whoever has the highest will collect all the money in the center. Sometimes you'll also play abilities that will let you steal from the pot, so whoever wins the pot actually gets less.
Nice.
Or you can steal from each other, so there's that spite level for you, very high.
Yeah.
Because you're specifically trying to take everybody's money. So stealing from other people makes your job a lot easier. You're also stealing cards from people or saying either you give me cards or you give me money, one or the other, what's it gonna be? So also you can put people into debt, and this is how the house wins their money. You're putting money into a hole, and if you don't have any money, then you can write down like, okay, I'm like 6 or 7 gold into the hole. You'll gain money, or hopefully you'll gain money or gold as you play throughout that round. So when the round's over, if you can't afford all your debt, then you are out. The game's over, and whoever has the most gold takes all the rest of the gold that's been added to the hole over and over again. But if you can pay off your debt, you get to keep playing, you get to do another round, and you have a chance to win back some of that money that you lost.
Okay. Flavor of this is great. All the dragons, there's gold ones, green, bronze, they're good, they're evil. Some of them are legendary, right? So like the gold monarch. It really does feel like a card game. I had someone teach me Blitz or 31 recently, which is a game you can play with just a deck of cards, and it feels like that. So it does feel like a game that someone in this universe would play, right?
Yeah. You'd usually use it in your campaign as a sort of mini game to be like, okay, we're all sitting around a campfire. We want to play a game. We want to divvy up the gold from the hoard that we just collected, or from the big battle that we just did. So how are we going to decide who gets what? Well, we'll play this game. Whoever gets the most gold gets the big amount, and maybe some people get less and that kind of thing.
Well, everyone knows adventurers love gambling.
Exactly, exactly. It's super fun. You can also use dice while you're playing this game to sort of be like, oh, I'm going to do a sleight of hand check to see if I can draw an extra card without anybody knowing. Or maybe save a card for later so that nobody knows that I have this and pull it back out. Or perception or insight to try to figure out if somebody's bluffing. If maybe they're putting down a low card so that you think that they're not about to play something really high or something like that. Or they're playing a high card so that you won't play anything, but really they're scared that you're going to play something super high and beat out their flight. You can also play with variant cards. In fact, they encourage you every single game to either play with these mortal cards and legendary dragons and shuffle a certain amount in, or you can just choose which mortals and legendary dragons to add in. Or you can also use a variant that uses all the old cards. So you can still play the old version, or
the non-legendary.
The non-legendary version, I should say, the original. In order to get that same feel, even if you didn't get a chance to play it back when it was new.
Yeah, the mortals are cool. You know, it's like, hey, it's just a traditional card game, and all of a sudden just like, oh, and then there's all these power cards in there that do weird stuff.
This game ends up being quite a bit complicated It is a gambling game with a lot of rules to it.
Interesting.
So you're trying to earn like lots of points for your flight, but you're also trying to play the abilities on those cards, and they only trigger during certain moments. Like for instance, when you're the first person to play a card, you're also trying to get a lot of gold, but you're trying to manage how much gold your opponents have versus how much you have, how deep you go into the hole. You also have set collecting, like, oh, I have 3 of the same numbers. That gives me a special ability that lets me steal from all the players. Or like, oh, I have 3 of the same color card. But like knowing what your opponent has or whether or not they're trying to go for a set, you might want to steal cards from their hand.
Okay.
Or make them replace a card from their flight with a different one. So there are a lot of rules to this game. It ends up being really deep strategy. I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Because in a gambling game like this, it can be really easy to chalk it up to, oh, I just got unlucky.
Yeah,
I just didn't get the cards I wanted. But because you have different aspects to all the different cards, you can decide how the game's going to go. Your skill level determines whether or not you win.
So who do you recommend this for?
I would recommend this to people who really like gambling games, bluffing and deception games. If you really liked trick-taking games like Fox in the Forest, or if you like poker, or any of like casino games and stuff like that. Also, if you really like D&D, it's an excellent prop. You can just pull it out when you're in a session and be like, okay, this is the game we're playing. And everybody either already knows it, if they like, their character already knows how to play or something like that, or you can just teach it to them pretty quickly, and then everybody just gets the ball rolling.
So if you like poker and you're a huge nerd like us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Again, holidays coming up too, like a gift for your friend who likes Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Like probably don't have this already, so it could be a fun thing.
It's a very fun themed gift.
Yeah.
If you know somebody who plays D&D.
Yeah.
Fits really well into 5th edition, so I highly recommend it.
Cool. Is that it, Javion? Is that all the games we have, or
No.
is there one more game?
There's one more.
That you want to talk about?
Yes.
Uh-oh. What's this game?
It's Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Quacks of Quedlinburg has been out for a while.
Yes, but this is the expansion.
Yeah.
This is the Herb Witches expansion. Some people have already gotten their hands on some copies, maybe from like Amazon or eBay or something like that.
Yeah.
Or from conventions, but this one has finally been released in retail. And I'm so excited because I love Quacks of Quedlinburg. Not only does it have dice, but it also has chips that you can pull out of a bag.
Yeah.
And it's this push your luck kind of thing. It's also engine building, sort of.
Yeah.
Because as you pull these chips out from your bag, you're placing them down in your pot. And the further you go in your pot, the more ingredients that you toss in, the more coins you have to buy really cool ingredients that you can put into your bag and maybe pull out. So it's sort of like a deck building game, but it's more like a bag building game because you have tiles and little chips that you're pulling out of the bag.
Yeah.
So the theme of the game is that you are a wizard. You're not actually a wizard. You're a quack.
Yeah.
You're a charlatan, a con artist.
Exactly.
You're pretending to be really good at making potions at a festival that lasts 9 days. And over those 9 days, depending on how well you do, you might get victory points. Whoever has the most victory points at the end is the winner. But because you're pretending you know what you're doing, and you really don't, you're just randomly pulling stuff out of a bag and tossing it in without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And if you pull out too many of these little cherry bombs, your pot bubbles over and foams over and blows up. So you might get less victory points, or you might get less coins to spend, or you don't get to roll that bonus die that gives you bonuses for, whoever puts the most ingredients in their pot will get more coins or get to roll that bonus die. You get rubies that you can spend to give yourself advantages, like a little flask that you can pour into your pot to remove those cherry bombs so that you don't blow up as easily, or at least you have a better chance of surviving that round without blowing up.
And this is still flying off this Quacks, the base version, is still flying off the shelves,
Oh
right?
my
This has
gosh,
been such a popular game. I've played it. Everyone I know has played it, loves it, bought it. So I could see this being very popular because there's a lot of variability in the base game. You can like flip the things and play different ways. But people play it so much, they might have gotten to the point where they're like, I want a little bit more. So this makes it even crazier from what you've told me.
Oh, yes. So in the original Quacks of Quedlinburg, there's a lot of variants. There's a lot of different ways to play. There's 4 sets. What I mean by that is there are like 7 different colored chips.
Yep.
And each one has 2 sides of like different these little boards that tell you what those chips do.
Yeah, the recipe book.
Yes, the recipe books. And each color has 2 recipe books
Mm-hmm.
with 2 sides on it each. So there's 4 ways for each of these 7 different colors. It's massive, right?
Yeah.
Herb Witches takes it so much farther. You get so much out of this box in terms of extra gameplay. It adds more variety in the terms of, in the types of chips that you can get or buy and add into your pot, but you also get a new chip called the Loco Flower, I believe, or the Loco Berry.
Oh, wow.
The Loco Berry.
Okay.
So it's a new chip that doesn't have any like little numbers on it to tell you how far along you get to place it. Because it changes every time you place it down. It's based off of like, oh, the last chip that you played, it's a copy of that chip. So you can do the same chip twice. Or rather like, oh, based on the number of rat stones that you've got. It's kind of hard to explain without already knowing it because it's an expansion.
Yeah.
But besides that, you also get the Herb Witches. And they come with their own coins that everybody gets to start with. Everybody gets to start with these little witch pennies. And you can spend a witch penny at certain points during the game to get a one-time bonus. But you can never get that bonus again.
Okay.
And these bonuses are huge. Sometimes it lets you double the number of coins that you get, so you can buy really, really expensive ingredients for your pot. Or sometimes it lets you upgrade the chips that you already have.
Ooh.
Or even lets you stop yourself from blowing up after you've already blown up. So it gives you another, like a second chance.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. It comes with so many extra ingredients, and you can play it with 5 players because it adds in the black pot, whereas somebody can play as a 5th player with extra pieces. It comes with enough ingredients that you can add into the base game so that all 5 people can play pretty comfortably without running out of those chips that it comes with.
Yeah, I've actually played this at 8 players before by combining 2 games. So now if you combine 2 games, you can go up to 10. Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And the overflows too, right?
Yeah, they have the overflow pots. So typically in the base game, when you hit the handle, you have to stop.
Yeah.
So if you go really, really far along your pot and you get all the way to the end, but you still want to pull out chips, well, you're not able to.
Right. You feel good.
You have to stop right away.
Yeah, but you're also like, oh, I want to keep going.
So it comes with the overflow pots, which is to say, if you want to keep going, you can, as much as you want to until you blow up. And every chip you put into that overflow pot, the numbers on it, you'll add all those numbers up. You'll take half of it rounded down as victory points. So you can get so many more victory points towards the end where it becomes really, really competitive. Once everybody's gotten all their super high powered ingredients that can do insane things.
Yeah.
And you've also got like an overflow pot so you can get even more victory points. So it becomes just like this huge, crazy race to see who can get the most victory points at the very end.
Nice.
It's so good. I cannot wait to get a chance to play it.
Yeah.
This is my personal copy, so I'm going to take this home. I'm going to play it as soon as I get a chance.
Gosh. Yeah. And I love that because they took what was really good and really exciting about Quacks of Quedlinburg and they just dialed it up to 11.
Oh my God,
right?
it's so good. I cannot wait.
Nice.
It's so great.
Yeah, and they've just kept coming out with stuff for, like you were saying, like who's this for someone who has this.
Right.
They came out with the new tokens for it. I don't know if that was North Star Games or if that was a third-party company.
Third party.
A third party for the
So
pieces.
Board Game Geek has a store, and on that store they have acrylic tokens for this game. One of my biggest complaints about this game was that the ingredient pieces, the little tokens, they're made of cardboard, but people have pretty greasy fingers, pretty oily fingers. So when you're touching
board gamers know.
all these like white chips, they get dirty really fast. They start to stick a little bit, so that when you're pulling those chips out of the bag, you can actually sometimes tell like, oh man, this chip is definitely a white chip. I can already tell it's so overused. So I'm not gonna pull that one. I'm gonna pull this other one.
Yeah.
Like you keep pulling out white chips because they keep sticking to your fingers.
Yeah.
The acrylic tokens solves this problem because there's these really smooth, really nice, like almost translucent, shiny ingredients. These tokens that you can use instead of the cardboard ones that are meant to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
I got my hands on some, and it changed the entire game for me. I'm so much more confident that the game feels random.
Yeah.
And it's not like somebody's like, just like, okay, I just dump them in the top and I pull out whatever's on top so I can always get the good stuff.
Yeah.
Because when people are shaking them around, you have no idea what any of these chips are.
Yeah.
So it feels a lot more like the game was intended to be.
Yeah. And I love they're just leaning into this. You know, they've seen how successful it is. Some companies just want to move on to the next game. They're like, we're going to license or whatever they did for the bits. We're going to do expansions. And yeah, I also enjoy the game. Look forward to seeing more of it in the future.
Yeah, so if you like deck building games, this one feels a lot like a deck building game. So I would try out the original Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah.
However, the expansion is exclusively for people who already own the original Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Yeah.
You don't want to accidentally mix this in with somebody else's copy of Quacks of Quedlinburg. So if you have your own, definitely use it. I would also keep the box around because you're going to want to be able to store some of these extra pieces because not everything's going to fit in the original game unless they come up with some kind of organizer to help you sort out where everything's going to go.
And I would say like the original, even with all the extra things to it, it's still pretty accessible for people who are not super into games.
Absolutely.
And even with the expansion, again, it's just that you're adding more stuff to it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it will still be pretty easy for people to pick up because like families, kids, I know a lot of people who just like kids in particular, like playing with the young kids and they really enjoy the game.
It's a little bit of a chore to get through the rules the first time, but after that, it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Every single time you play, it's just like, oh, I just pull chips out.
this
Oh, I
stuff
buy
out,
chips. That's just it. As long as you follow all of the instructions and you follow like the order of how the bonuses are supposed to go. Like, first the bonus die, then I get to activate all those like black moths and the garden spiders. Then I get rubies. Then I get victory points and I buy chips.
Yeah.
If you follow all of those steps in order, you won't get lost or anything like that. Definitely recommend it to anybody who's like 10 or older, families, anybody who really like deck building games like Dominion, or if you liked Quarriors, which was a little bit more of an alternative deck building game because it was a dice building game, a bag of dice building game, a bag building game.
Yeah.
Definitely check out Quacks of Quedlinburg and get this expansion if you have the base game. You will not regret it.
All right, that is Quacks of Quedlinburg, the Herb Witches. All right.
And that's our last game.
Yeah, I think that is actually all the games that we have. Yes, you want to talk about Mox one last time before we sign off?
Absolutely. So if you are planning on coming to Mox anytime this month or like the next coming months, Black Friday is coming up soon. It is new board game season. It is official. People are pulling out new games for Halloween and for Black Friday, for Christmas and like the holiday season. New games are coming out. Come to Mox if you want to see what the new games are. Also, we're doing lots and lots of holiday events. So there's lots of board game events. There's lots of Magic the Gathering events if you're really into Magic. If you want to try out any of these games, we are demoing these games all the time. So any one of us would be happy to teach you, especially me, if you want to learn any of these games. Absolutely. So come on by if you have some time on your hands or if you want to just have like a really fun game night with your friends.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us for our Friday new release rundown. We will be back again on I believe Monday. We have Brothers Murph, the show that we do where they actually play the games. That's fun. Wednesday, we have our Fireside with Peter Atkinson talking about the history of Magic the Gathering. And then, of course, Fridays before this show, we have Table Takes, our weekly board game news show. If you've enjoyed this, you can follow us, you can subscribe, and can't wait to see you next time.
Thank you so much, Emma.
Thanks,
Bye,
Javion.
guys.